Hey, what's up you guys, DJMama here, and I'm gonna surprise you with some content you probably didn't expect, and I didn't expect this content to come out either. So recently, YGO.PRO.DECDK.com, aka YGPRODECK.com, released a tier list for Master Duel. I didn't realize they had this just until now, and they have listed a tier list of decks up to tier 5 to tier 1, obviously, for decks that have graced Master Duel's meta. Current competitive meta, the September 23 meta, aka season 21 of ranked duels. Let's see what tier 5 has for us. Certainly some tier 5 decks probably no one expects. So let's go into it. Let's try and see what we have here. So, tier 5, let's start off with the most entrants that even beats tier 3 and tier 4. It is the one, the only Punk. That's right, Punk takes up 114 slots. Yeah, and I think this deck only can go up further. I know cards like Xiamen, Telly, and Psychic and Punisher, which we have, are really good routes to go to. But also, when we get a Gold Pride, I don't think we have it just yet, if I am correct. I'm just gonna double check if we have Gold Pride. But once we do get that archetype, I think Punk goes up even more substantially in the tiers. But so, yeah, I think Punk is well suited tier 5 deck. Yeah, makes sense. Next up, it's both Sword Soul and Tenyi Sword Soul. So of course the girl Moye say the bit. If my girl and Moye are drowning, we save Moye, whatever the whole thing is. So Moye, of course, Sword Soul is still crazy. Still crazy because this card still exists. Protoss, it's crazy. In Best of 1, it is harder to call which type you might be playing against, because there is a lot of decks that play a lot of singular types, but sometimes you play the top deck right now does not play the same type as everyone, as doesn't say the same type as always. But yeah, Protoss is very hard to call, but kind of just call Dark and, you know, you're there. I will add Vashuda, because Vashuda is still a hell of a card. Because Tenyi Sword Soul. Next up, the new toy syndrome of the pack, Galaxy Eyes, has made it to tier 5 off playability, probably alone. I don't see it as that bad, but, you know, it's certainly a deck I didn't expect to see. But, big numbers sometimes hit hard. With a lot of going second cards, can do a lot for you. So yeah, it's Photon Dragon. Next up, what we have here, Cyber Dragon, with a lot of entrants because of duality. Clockwork Knight turning the entire field into machines is insane for this deck, going first or second. Even if you destroy the Clockwork Knight, it searches you Regulus, and yeah, it just makes Cyber Dragon even more flexible. So it is in tier 5 contention for a best of 1 format, because sometimes you just get OTK'd, or it just sets up maybe not Nova. It sets up Infinity plus a Regulus, which is, you know, cards. Anyway, that's Cyber Dragon for you. Next up we have where was it? Gravekeeper, the anti-meta strategy of anti-meta strategies. A lot of graveyard reliant decks, because, you know, the graveyard is the second hand these days, and saying no moving stuff from the graveyard means a lot, especially when there's like there's actually no terraforming in the format, so there's less ways to search Necro Valley. But I think Command It is still fine. It also has other floodgates it can rely on for Necro Valley. But yeah, very much the anti-meta strategy of anti-meta strategies. Next up is something labeled Greed. So I clicked it and I found out it's Flunderies once again, somehow making tier 5 contention. Obviously it's very good versus the number 1 card in the format, which is Maxi, EVK. It does not play into Maxi at all. It can do its whole combo line. But every ban list since Flunder has been released into Master Duel, it has been hit. Even most recently with the Pot of what they hit Pot of Extravagance is technically a hit to Flunderies. They've been hitting this deck a lot, and it's still somehow tier 5, which is insane. I didn't know what greed was. It played all of the pot cards to just draw into a Rabina and another bird, which is, you know, the way it is. So if you see greed, it's just Flunder, which is a greedy archetype. Next up, Valence. Still don't know how this card works, or this deck works. It just, I think we banned Cyber Sign, which was the main way Valence won, because it summoned like FTK machines like Blaze Phoenix, I think. And Cyber Sign, you know, all that nice stuff. Cyber Sign is now banned, I think, in this format, if I'm correct. Should be banned, but yeah, there goes Valence being Valence. Next up, of course, we have to talk about Exo Sister. Exo Sister, at the height of Tearlament's reign, was a very good deck versus Tearlament. Able to shut down the graveyard. If you, on our normal summon, we just make all of our XCs that say do not move shit from the graveyard. Great stuff. Yeah, Exo Sister fell off a little bit after Tier fell off, but it's still pretty good because, once again, a lot of decks are graveyard reliant. Next up, after Exo Sister, Kashtira. Current Kashtira is still bad. We're still in Dabble, aka no Arise Heart. Rip Arise Heart in the TCG, thank God. So I hope Master Duel players enjoy that for like a few months. It can zone lock still because we have Diablosis, but that can be handled pretty quickly. But yeah, Kashtira is in tier 5. Next up we have Scareclaw, and I actually clicked it. It was just Scareclaw with Beast of Starfrost stuff. Yeah, Scareclaw is in tier 5. I actually don't know what the deck does. I think it just like puts things to defense. That's the best as I can do for it. Next up, Dragon Link, aka Rocket. So when I see Rocket, I'm like, okay, it's Borland stuff. Borland is still a hard to out guy. We have 3 Chaos Dragon, 3 of each Chaos Dragon, aka Collapse Servant, Wyver Burster, that can just help make this guy extensively easy. But yeah, this man is crazy. If we ever get to it. Unoutable, can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, needed player can target this card effects. Can attack all my monsters. Has a response that is unrespondable if I have a Rocket engrave, which is not that hard. But yeah, Borland is a monster, a beast even. Next up, Mikanko, another new tool, another new fun deck. It's just kind of like, it's just probably going to be another like going second deck with Kaijus that they ram into and then you take the damage. Very fun. Next up, Branded. After the Branded Fusion limit, we're definitely fall off, but after you probably get like Cartesia, I don't know if you have everything in the TCG. I don't know if you have Sanctifier Dragon. This is probably more manageable with even one Branded Fusion, but it does suck. Next up, our last two, we are going to talk about Trap Trick. Trap Trick, set 5 pass, do be away. It's like Eldritch. It's like Eldritch, but maybe even a little better than day 1 Master Duel Eldritch. This version of Trap Trick, anyway. Yeah. That's all I'll say. And surprise, surprise, Kit Kalos and Tearlament are still in tiered contention. Tier 5 is, you know, rough to be in, considering this is one of the strongest decks to ever existed. But the banning of Agito and Merly do affect this a lot. The banning of Merly really does hamper on the ability to play Sprite Elf and Sprind. So it's a little rough, but this deck can probably still thrive. I don't know if it's going to raise up to even like tier 4 contention, but it could happen. It's Tearlament. We still have 3 Ishizus, we still have Kit Kalos. As long as you have Kit Kalos, you can still probably do what you need to do. Anyway, that is tier 5. Tell me your thoughts in description. Next up, tier 2. I'm trying to blaze past this. I don't know how much time I just wasted. Alright, tier 2 and tier 4. And let's start with tier 4. Would you be surprised to know that Dogmatica has made tier 4? So Dogmatica either is a stun deck. Yes, a stun deck with like Fossil Dyna, a whole bunch of barrier statues, and Ecclesia. Or it's Invoker or Albazoa Turbo. That's what Dogmatica does. Albazoa, a monster, crazy guy. Alistair was called to ban a long time ago, or like get hit, but eventually gets power creep, but still summoning a Mechaba is still strong enough. So Dogmatica is tier 4 over all those tier 5 decks, surprisingly enough. Next up, Rika in tier 4. So Dogmatica and Rika make up tier 4 by themselves. Rika plus, of course, Sun Avalon just do a lot of stuff, but the end board is still played through. It just makes a board. That's all I'll say. But yeah, that's Dogmatic. That's Sun Avalon Rika. Next up, tier 3, and tier 3 goes to Runic. Seeing a few hits here and there, very minor hits, but some to its consistency does affect it. Runic is very much in a weird, rough position. Oh my gosh, the page just exploded on me. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, Runic Fountain. You do have to give up your lovely battle phase, but that's left to do when you're out managing your opponent by drawing 3 each time. And next up, the other tier 3 deck goes to Mathmech. Mathmech still pretty much has everything. We have 3 circular, we have 3 Signet Mining. This deck still does what it still does very well, but it still has to try and compete with the other top dogs that can just either add advantage it or stop it or have it play under Maxi. But Mathmech really has not seen any substantial hits, unlike the TCG where we limited circular. Circular is still at 3 in Master Duel. So that's tier 3, Mathmech and Runic. And on to tier 2. We have, of course, the last 2. Let's talk about Pearly, the clear star of the new new pack. Pearly outshines of both Mikonko and, of course, Galaxy Eyes by being crazy, and you don't even have the other Dark rank 2 Pearly, Pearl Lily rank 2, and yet it's still fine. This deck still is crazy, making pops on your opponent's turn, making a big giant dog to just sit on and pop your opponent's cards. So yeah, that's Pearly. And of course we have Labyrinth. Even with 1 EEV, this deck still does amazing things. It can either just set 5 or do a monster combo that doesn't lose to Droll. It doesn't mind being really maxi. It doesn't summon that much. Lovely Lady is still crazy, and it's even getting more crazy support down the line, so the stonks are going up for Labyrinth stuff. So yeah, that makes up tier 2. 343 with Pearly because it's a new toy, and 205 with a Labyrinth. But now let's go on to the number 1 deck currently in ranked, Sprite. Of course, who else would it be? Gigantic Sprite. Sprite has every card currently legal for it, which is insane. We only have a few hits. Obviously the current hit to Jet is crazy. 2 blue, 2 starter, but we still have everything. People are even playing Gamma Burst because best of 1. Smashers is crazy. We have Double Cross, which is awesome. And of course, having Elf and Sprint help a lot, help immensely. The extra deck is untouched for Sprite pretty much, besides like Union Carrier. I don't even know if Sprite would play Union Carrier. But this is truly insane that we have, that Sprite has 400 spots or 400 like that decks playing it. Yeah, Sprite is insane. Adding Melfi Caddy and Melfi Penny is insane. Well, the 1 Swap Frog can probably finally be cut. Soul Scissors, just an extender, Nimble Angler is still fun to send off Sprite's friend. Gamma, if I was playing Lambda too, I was just playing a lot of things, and I'm playing Bystials just because this deck is clearly one of the best decks to be playing. Just going into Gigantic Sprite can make people rage quit, honestly. It was like, alright, we're done, I don't want to play Sprite anymore, play with Sprite anymore. Anyway, so yeah, that is the tier list of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro deck Master Duel stuff. It also has a little like top ranked cards little category, which is fun. I will link it down in the description below, and I will see you guys next time. What did you guys think? Tell me your thoughts, comments, concerns down below. See you guys next time. Bye.